Let's have a chat on the back of the latest development on this matter. Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner. He joins us for a bit more on this. Good afternoon to you, lawyer. But here we are, that objection raised against the impaneling of the justices with the acting CJ at the top has been thrown out of court. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so that's the right decision that the court is taking, right? It's the right decision because, number one, when it comes to the objection, Justice Bafoboni is acting Chief Justice because the Constitution says so. Let's be very clear. It's the Constitution that says that when the Chief Justice is not in office, the most senior Supreme Court Justice becomes the acting Chief Justice. So to say that Justice Bafoboni has an interest in the case is something I'm struggling to understand. His appointment is constitutional. It didn't take President Mahama to appoint Justice Bafoboni. No, nothing. It's automatic. I'm in court right now. I don't have the Constitution here. I would have read out the provision. But it just goes automatically. So once Chief Justice Tokoni was suspended, automatically it went to Bafoboni. It didn't take President Mahama to appoint him. It didn't take any ceremony. It's a constitutional appointment, straight, without any person having a hand in it. And the Supreme Court has been clear. There's a number of decisions, that shows that if the Chief Justice must do something, you can't use these objections to disqualify the Chief Justice, right? So the way he raised it, that objection was bound to fail.
I see. Lawyer, we're just hearing also that a decision has been taken on the substantive matter that the Otafo MP sent to court. I'll bring in now our court correspondent, Lord Iduasare, to share a bit more on that development. Lord, talk to us. What is the decision that the court has taken on the Otafo matter? Oh, it appears Lord cannot hear us at the moment, but what we are hearing is that the Supreme Court has thrown out that case seeking to injunct the president from forwarding the petition to the Council of State. Essentially, we've been telling you how the Otafo MP are taking the matter to court, asking that the Supreme Court overruled that process the president had kickstarted. This moment, we're hearing from the Supreme Court that the matter has been struck out completely. What that means for the process, we'll find out from lawyer. But let me try Lord again to give us a bit more from what has happened in court today. Lord Edwasare, talk to us. The Supreme Court, we now know, has struck out this matter. But tell us how proceedings went down today.
Emily, so we need to put things in perspective. You realize that the Otafo Member of Parliament, Vincent Assefa, he had two injunctions at the Apex Court. The first injunction had to do with injuncting the president from forwarding the petition to the Council of State. Now, that petition or that injunction has been withdrawn by his lawyer, Godfrey Yawadami, and has been struck out as withdrawn by the Apex Court. So it's just one of two injunctions that has been struck out, not the entire substantive. The second one, which is the crux of the case, is now being argued out as we speak by the former Attorney General, who is the lead counsel for Vincent Assefa, which is Godfrey Yawadami, and then the Deputy Attorney General, Shamsai. He is representing the Attorney General's office today. But early on, the former Attorney General was objecting to the presence of the acting Chief Justice, Justice Bafoboni, from presiding the reconstituted panel, which consisted of four others, Justice Emmanuel Kulendi, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, Justice Gewu, and then Justice Amadou Tanko. Now, this was not the original panel hearing the matter when it was first called. You recall that, and if you see the list now, you realize that 3 justices have been reconstituted. At the last time agenda is present, we were told that for an unavoidable reason, they had to adjourn the matter today because one of the sitting justices on the matter, Justice Samuel Sedu, who we now have gotten to know that he was a member of the committee set up by the president, was absent. And so the case was adjourned today. So we came today and realized that the entire panel has been reconstituted.
I see. So let's slow down for us. Two things have happened in court today. The first one being the Supreme Court not agreeing with the former Attorney General that Justice Bafo-Boni should excuse or recuse himself from the empaneling of the justices or even empaneling himself. The second matter, which we are just hearing, breaking this minute, is that the Supreme Court has thrown out one of those cases. Explain the case that has been thrown out to us.
So what has been overruled was the objection by the former Attorney General, one, asking the acting Chief Justice Bafo-Boni to recuse himself, and then two, objecting the entire reconstituted panel from sitting on the matter. He argued that the original panel should have been sitting on this matter. Now, what has just come in is that Echo Vincent Assefa, led by Godfrey Adami, has withdrawn one of their injunction suits. He stated that the first injunction suit had to do with stopping the president from forwarding the petition to the Council of State, which at this point is moot because the Chief Justice, has been suspended at this point. The second matter is what is still being argued on, and so that is a substantive case, and so that there's no decision to that as we speak because Godfrey Obadami just finished making his arguments, and then the opposition is being made by the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Kemsai.
Lord, I appreciate the clarity and reporting. Thank you so much for talking to us. Lawyer Kpebu is still with us over the telephone. Lawyer, this would appear a natural progression of the case, considering that the president's, attention to the matter has gone past forwarding the issue to the Council of State, would you say?
Absolutely, Kamini. Absolutely. So you got it right. His application, or let's say, Vincent Assefua's application had become moot because in the interim, the president had given the Chief Justice an opportunity to respond, and even after the Chief Justice responds, the president did the hearing and did the which led to the prima facie determination. So it means that it's too late in the day. Nothing can be done. What he was seeking has already been taken care of. That's how come. So you hear that he withdrew the application, meaning that as a lawyer, if you see that your application has been overtaken by events, what you do is that you call it back. So it means that you don't try to convince the court to grant it. No. You just withdraw. So that's what was done, and that's the right procedure. So now that they are dealing with the substantive matter, that's good. It's good that the Supreme Court is going to the substantive matter today so that we can get a judgment on it, and then we can take it from there. Okay.
I see. And then also we can say that this incident may or may not be a pinhole to what the outcome of the substantive matter will be, right?
No, because his main contention was that the president must give a copy of the petition to the person involved, so that the Chief Justice, and get a response, okay, before passing it on to the Council of State. So now that has already, they've gone past it and all that. No, I mean substantively. So now the court will rule, okay, the court will rule whether in future, when such matters happen, you must give the copy to the respondent, etc., before the Council of State, is asked to weigh in. So let's see how it goes.
Indeed, we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for talking to us. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. We've just been hearing from the Supreme Court that the Otafo MP has withdrawn one of two cases.
Now, staying on matters relating to the court, the Criminal Court 4 has granted the former secretary of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Pisu, and one Andy Owusu bail in the sum of 200,000 cedis each. The special prosecutor earlier slapped 15 counts of corruption charges against them, accusing them of abusing public office for personal gain in connection with illegal mining operations. In the first count, Mr. Bisu is accused of using his public office for profit, contrary to Section 179CA of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. And the court granted each accused person bail, like we mentioned, in the sum of 200,000 cedis with two sureties, one of whom must be justified. We know that as part of the bail conditions, the passports of both accused are to be deposited with the registry of the court. They are also to report to the OSP once every month. The matter has been adjourned to the 29th of May 2025 for case management conference. The court sat on the case to take the plea of Mr. Bisu. Let's take you there right now. Christian Yale is joining us with a bit more on the details from the court. Chris, what transpired in court today? We know we've been getting bits and pieces of the details, but walk us through everything that happened.
Yes, and even before I get to what actually transpired in court today, we know that according to the charge sheet, Mr. Bisu is accused of allegedly receiving an amount of 15,000 cedis from one Benjamin at Japan through the other accused person, Andy Owusu, which forms part of the 15 counts of charges of corruption leveled against them by the special prosecutor. And so in court today, both accused persons pleaded not guilty to these charges leveled against them. But we know that lawyers for the special prosecutor did not oppose that stance. But earlier in April, we know that Charles Bisu himself had issued a statement in which he asserted that he had always acted in compliance with all the legal as well as ethical frameworks that guided the position that he held. As such, any accusations of misconduct will be baseless and will be vigorously challenged with due process, following which today he has submitted his plea at the criminal court form. And so both of them have been granted bail to the tune of 200,000 cedis each with two sureties, and one of the sureties must be justified. Also, as part of the bail conditions, the two accused persons are to submit their passport at the registry of the court.
Right, and Chris, we know that they are to return on the 29th of this month. What are we to expect on that date?
Exactly. So we know that the matter has been adjourned to 29th May 2025 for what we call the case management conference. But also the additional information is that the accused persons are to report themselves to the office of the special prosecutor once every month. We had made an attempt to get some reactions from lawyers for the OSP who would not speak as of now, as well as lawyers for Charles Bisu and Charles Bisu himself, who was in court today. Yeah.
Right then, Chris, thank you very much for those details. That's Christian Yale, is my colleague from court for us this afternoon. We started heavy from the Supreme Court at the High Court. We can switch our focus and bring you some other matters right now.
Indeed, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has cancelled 701 diplomatic and service passports as part of a nationwide recall of official travel documents. A statement issued on Tuesday, May 6, explained that the affected passports include 341 unreturned diplomatic passports and 360 service passports, which have now been placed on a stop list and are no longer valid for international travel. The cancellation follows earlier public announcements on January 15th and March 10th, 2025, instructing former officials and other designated individuals to return the official passports. The ministry warned that all affected passport holders will be passports indeed will be confiscated if found in use, emphasizing strict enforcement at entry and exit. There's more to the story. Let's bring you who could be on this list. Mawena, what are we seeing?
Right, and so they just detail quickly the individuals whose passports we understand have now been revoked: former ministers and their spouses, former members of parliament, former members of the Council of State along with their spouses as well. Then they are former or retired justices of the Supreme Court and then the lower courts of adjudicature as well. Former regional ministers, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives. This always has people asking the questions. All of these individuals have diplomatic passports. Also, former officers of state institutions, chairpersons and members of boards, they as well have seen their diplomatic passports and service passports revoked following their failure to return them. Officials of the National Cathedrals Project, former non-career ambassadors, independent, as well as religious and traditional leaders. Now, amongst many other things, the ministry says that they acknowledge the compliance of 407 holders of diplomatic and 403 service passports who duly returned them before the start of this month, because we know there was a deadline which was set by the government. However, 341 unreturned diplomatic passports and 360 service passports have been cancelled with immediate effect on the instructions of the Honourable Minister for Foreign Affairs. And that's the latest that we have on this particular subject matter. And what we understand is that from here on in, a wireless message would have been sent to the respective agencies and ambassadors to, amongst many other things, ensure that these said individuals cannot use these diplomatic and service passports as well in their travels.
Well, away from that, Minority Leader Alexander Penyumakin has petitioned the Inspector General of Police to investigate an officer, Constable Forson, who he alleges assaulted him during the Save the Judiciary demonstration on Monday, May 5th. The Ifutu MP also wants a disciplinary action to be taken against the officer. In a letter addressed to the office of the IGP on May 6th, he said, and I quote, "I hereby formally petition your office to investigate and take appropriate disciplinary action against Constable Forson." And he describes him in that as a tall, fair and heavily built officer who has or was stationed at the entrance of Parliament House to provide security during today, referring to Monday's Save the Judiciary demonstration, unquote. I want to go over those details that the Minority Leader has shared in that statement. Describes the said police officer as Constable Forson, a tall, fair, heavily built officer who deliberately struck the left side of his chest with full force of his right palm directly near his hat. He also says in that statement that the impact of the hit dazed me and I was visibly shaken and short of breath. In that moment, I spontaneously protested his conduct, asking why he would seek to harm me. The statement also goes on to say the inspector who was facilitating my access, along with other officers, quickly intervened and assisted me into the restricted area where I had to lean against the wall at the entrance of Parliament House to prevent myself from collapsing. Let's have a conversation on the back of the security analyst and senior lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, Dr. Victor Doke, is joining us on this one. Doc, good afternoon to you. First, let's look at the demonstration itself, the issues that came up, but more specifically on what appears to be a situation between the Minority Leader and the Ghana Police Service, because mind you, the police service is written to Parliament to allow the Minority Leader come to the police station and respond to certain questions. The Minority Leader at the same time releases a statement saying this officer assaulted him. You'll look into this.
Well, thank you very much. I think with regards to demonstrations, we all know it's a right for every citizen, a group of people coming together to exercise their franchise or whatever with regards to expressing their views, and that makes we as a people in regards to human rights, respect to human rights, and then good democracy practices. So whatever they did was in line with good democratic principles. Now coming to the substantive issue with regards to the confrontation between the said MP and then the police. One, there's a lot of back and forth, and we are not even getting to understand what critically happened before the main incident that has been shown in videos that is circulating. Is the said MP talking about a different incident prior to what we are seeing? And if it is the same thing, then I think there needs to be a thorough investigation. Now, processes have been initiated by both the MP and the police themselves. Now, let me take the police for first of all. You would think or ascertain that, first of all, an institution such as the police would have a comprehensive mechanism when it comes to demonstrations. Now, the aftermath of it, if people violate the rules and regulations when it comes to demonstrations, how does the police investigate on their own and come up with substantive evidence? Okay, so you're talking about operational equipment, i.e., you have cameras, you have videos. So if their personnel were there, they would have a comprehensive footage of whatever happened. Now, irrespective of that, do we have enough drones operated by the police to ascertain the aerial evidence? Also is very critical. This is the case where we need what efficient cameras, body cameras. Now, if you even hear that the body cameras will be damaged in the confrontations, then you can have those that investigative journalists use. Okay, those undercover cameras that are used. Then you can ascertain what exactly happened. Now, let me come to the said MP with regards to exactly what we saw that is circulating. Now, analyzing the video critically, you could only see the said MP throwing his hand at the police. Now, assuming the policeman personnel did something to infuriate the said MP, there's a channel, there's a process to go by. The said MP would just have relayed his position to the hierarchy of the police to take up the investigations. Now, but aside that, what happened between him and the policeman was what I would term as it's a reaction from his side instead of being reflective on the issue and then taking the process. So his reaction led to what we saw in the video. Now, the two institutions can come together as quickly as possible. We've seen the letters
and get to the bottom of this.
Exactly. We've seen letters going to the speaker to release the said MP, and the MP has also sent letters to the IGP